Hello, my name's Craig McLean and welcome to my first video where I'll be introducing you to my two projects. One of them being the Mini you can see behind me here and the other being my Mark 1 Escort. Now I've missed a big opportunity with my Escort as I've just spent the last 4 years restoring the shell, replacing many panels, loads of fabrication, loads of welding, that being the biggest and my favourite part of any build. Now I could have documented that and done videos, but I got my head so focused in the work that I missed that opportunity and I haven't done any kind of footage of that. The only thing I do have is photos. So hopefully in future I might be able to put a slideshow up if this video turns out to be any good and show you a lot of the photos during that build, because I've literally spent 2 days a week for the last 4 years on that. Mega hours. If it's something you're looking at doing, you've got to have a high level of motivation, because there's many times where you don't feel like coming into the garage. You've got to force yourself. You crack on with it, but when you actually produce the quality that you're looking for, it's an amazing feeling, a fantastic hobby. But I can't say it's a cheap hobby. It is an expensive hobby at the same time. So I get a lot of my inspiration from a lot of the videos that I watch on YouTube. I probably spend more time these days watching YouTube than I do watching the likes of the car shows on Discovery. I think they're a bit more personal and I just find them better. So big shout out to some of my favourite videos. So we've got Bad Obsession Motorsport at the top of the tree for me. Now if you don't know anything about Bad Obsession Motorsport, they've over the last maybe 5 or 6 years it must be, they've been producing, or rather building, a Mini with Toyota Celica 4-wheel drive running gear. Now the head fabricator from Bad Obsession Motorsport, a guy called Nick Blackhurst, I'm a big fan of. His workmanship is jaw-dropping. He gives me a lot of inspiration just watching his videos. Everything he produces is just amazing. Certainly worth a watch. You don't even have to be into minis to watch it. You just have to have a love for any kind of engineering and he'll be right up your street. Another one, Retro Power. They've recently built an Escort for Gordon Murray, who's a Formula 1 designer. Now, as you can imagine, multi-millionaire, no money, no expense spared. And the quality of what they've built there is amazing. I think Gordon actually chose this company because he'd seen a lot of their work, and that speaks a lot when a designer from a Formula 1 team picks a company. So yeah, brilliant. Richard Allen is another one that puts some good videos up. Now Richard's the founder of Cumbria Classic Mini Clubs. Anyone in the Cumbria area looking to get into the mini scene, I really can't recommend them enough. Very friendly. As long as you've got a classic mini and you're into the mini scene, you'll be welcomed in open arms. Richard himself has got a wide variety of minis. He's probably got more minis than what Enterprise Rent-A-Car have rent-a-cars. He's had everything from 8-port, turbos, Vauxhall engine minis, you name it, he's had the lot. And he often puts videos up of his wide selection of minis and what he's on with at the time. There's Team Stockdale. He's got an immaculate 1275 GT that he built himself, and also 1 or 2 other projects he's been on with. He hasn't put any videos up for a while, which is a shame, but I'm sure he'll be back soon. And then there's the likes of Usher Engineering. Now, Usher Engineering, on the videos, I don't know who works at the company on a daily basis, but on the videos, it's a dad and daughter setup, and his daughter gets really involved in the welding and grinding and all the different aspects of the builds, and she does a really good job. And what I like about that is, I don't have any kids at the minute, and I'm hoping one day I'll have a son that'll be into what I'm into. Obviously, that's not guaranteed. I might get a daughter, or I might even have a son that's not into it, but it just goes to show, even if I had a daughter, it doesn't mean for certainty that she won't be into it, because watching the videos, she gets really involved, and I find that quite inspirational, because not many women are into that kind of thing. So, like I say, I've spent the last 4 years on the Escort. The Mini behind me here was built between 2004 and 2008, late 2008, early 2009. I was only an apprentice electrician at the time, but I think I put all the money I made as an apprentice into this build, which is great really, because at least I've got something to show for the 4 or 5 year apprenticeship I did. Now, I got big into cars from an early age. I must have been 12, 13, something like that. I was going to the local shows, the likes of your vintage rallies, etc. And I realised from an early age I had a real big desire to build my own car one day, especially the Minis. The Minis and the Escorts were what originally got me into the scene. So when I was a kid, most kids would be playing on the PlayStation, playing out or whatever. I had my head in books, dreaming of building my dream car one day, and I'm lucky and fortunate enough to have had the opportunity, the facilities, the people around me to inspire me to do it, and the Mini in the background is an example of that. So, like I said, the Escort, I started building that 4 years ago. It's actually in the paint shop at the minute. Unfortunately, I can't show you it. I am looking at making a video and putting it up on YouTube of all the pictures I took, so I can put a slideshow up of the last 4 years' work. But as I mentioned earlier, I've missed an opportunity to be doing the likes of this. Now, I'm not looking to do videos where I show everything I'm doing, because I get too involved in what I'm doing and I don't think about the video side of things. So I'll probably be looking to do more of a retro power style of viewing, which is I'll work on a section and then I'll show you guys when I'm done. This is what I've been doing the last few weeks, and you can see the progress. So that's my plan going forward. Now, my aim in these videos isn't to get loads and loads of different subscribers. That's very nice. It's great when people like your work, and it certainly inspires you to carry on when people come around and say, you know, you've done a great job there, well done. And especially people that are high up and well respected in the trade give you good feedback. That really, really helps. And all I'm looking to do is inspire the next, because like I say, we all know people that have got cars sitting in garages. The people that'll say, yeah, I've got a Mark 1 Escort, Mark 2 Escort, a Golf, a Beetle or whatever, and then probably never will get round to doing it. It's a lot of work. But if my videos can inspire someone else to do the same thing as your videos inspire me, that's all I'm looking around. So in a minute, I'll give you a little look around my Mini, let you see exactly what I've done here 11 years ago. Now, I get a lot of stick for the Mini because it only comes out in dry weather, I'll be honest. It was built 11 years ago, and it's probably not in much worse condition than the day I finished it, because the way I see it is, it's as clean underneath as it is on top. I spent many, many hours cleaning it over winter. I don't want to drag it through a muddy field. I don't want to drag it through dirty roads and then have all that cleaning to do again through winter, because it takes hours and hours and hours, and I don't always have the time because I'm generally busy on another project. I've actually even got a plaque on my wall behind the camera, that I received from the Cumbria Classic Mini Club, which was for least likely to come out in the rain. Now, I can't argue with that, because they're probably absolutely right. So I'll show you around the Mini, talk to you a bit about it, the mods, etc, etc. I'll show you a picture I've got on my back bench of what gave me the inspiration and what I'm looking my Escort to look a bit like. I'm taking a lot of my ideas from a guy called Stephen Spencer. He built this beautiful, one of my favourite Mark 1 Escorts, bubble arched, image wheels, low, fat, wide stance, everything I love in an Escort. And I seen that at a show many years ago, and it took me years to track down the owner, literally years. I asked loads of different forums, different sites, do you know whose car this is? I originally viewed it at an RS show in Kendal, but I didn't get to meet the owner, and like I said, it took me years to find out who he was, so I could ask him various questions about it. Unfortunately, he regrets selling it, and I'm not surprised, because it's a beautiful car. I'll show you a picture of that in a minute anyways. So I'll show you around the Mini and talk to you a bit about it, and hopefully you'll like it. Just let me get the camera set up. So this is my Mini 1275 GT. Like I said, this took me 4 years to build. A real labour of love. I did all the body work. It's had, again, like the Escort, lots of panels replaced. Full rear quarters, brand new doors, front wings, the inner wings I've had repairs to the back panel, full boot floor, full main floor, and it's had various touches like the fuel cap design you can see here, which was originally done by a guy from our Mini Club, and I loved the idea, so I decided to copy that myself. It then went to the same body shop that my Escort's actually in a present to get the paint job done, and they did an amazing job, which is obviously why I'm using the same company to paint my Escort. So it was resprayed by them. I did all the body work, they did all the paint work, They painted it in a later MG Le Mans green, and then I spent a further 2 years reassembling it. So it's got Miglia arches. I'll just show you the camera set up. Image wheels. Behind the image wheels, we've got super fin drums on the back. Tarok 6-pot calipers on the front. Obviously, as you can see, the original 1275 GT stripes to give that original-ish kind of look. Inside, it's got black and green leather caros, carbon fibre dash. Now, I've installed additional gauges in the centre, which are drift iridium gauges. Now, they light up in red digital, and they were readily available a few years ago. They've stopped making them now. I think they're made in Australia. Now, I did have plans to sink the speedo, rev counter and fuel gauge in the drift iridium style into the cluster behind the steering wheel there, but I can no longer find them. So if there's anybody out there that's got any kind of idea where I could get them from, or knows somebody who has them, would like to sell them, please let me know, because that's something I did want to do but never got the opportunity. So I think there's nothing much more I can say about the inside. It's got safety devices, 6-point roll cage. I forget they're called DSN Classics door handle sets, which cost a bit of money, but they're a lovely, lovely bit of kit. I think that's probably as much as I can say for the inside. So I'll move on to under the bonnet. Now, if you're not into minis, or if you are into minis and don't really know them too well, you might think, well, what engine's he got in this car here? Well, believe it or not, this is actually a mini engine. It's a mini block and a mini gearbox, but it's got a BMW motorbike 16-valve twin-cam cylinder head. Now, I think, if I remember rightly, I've read up about this, the idea was first first found, if you like, back in the late 80s by a guy in Seattle or something like that, and he would happen to be into the minis and the bikes, and found that you could actually fit the head onto the mini block with relatively little work. So if you remove all the studs from the block and leave the front 3 studs in, the head centralises onto the block perfectly, and then you've got work to do drilling the other 7. There's a conversion kit. Now, I get all my parts from a company called Specialist Components. Again, amazing stuff. Not cheap, but fantastic. Everything they produce is CNC machined. As you can see, they stamp up everything as well. Everything just looks amazing. And they do the conversion kit to allow the twin cam head to be put onto the mini block. Now, before this head was available, there was the likes of the CAD and the Jackknight heads. Very, very desirable, very nice, but they did cost mega money. Now, I'm not saying this was cheap. I could have done it a lot cheaper, but I've went down the road of buying the likes of Specialist Components alloy throttle bodies that you can't really see well, but they're a beautiful bit of kit there. I've brought the Specialist Components plenum chamber, because it's actually turboed this car as well. It's running on a Fusion Fabrications manifold. They're a company, I think it's a one-man band, but his exhaust manifolds for this kit are top drawer. It's running a GT17 turbo through Toyota MR2 intercooler that you can just see at the front here. Now, this hose here, I would like to redesign this at some point. I've actually got an Escort RS Turbo pipe, which, if you can remember, they're like a flat section that come over the top of the cam cover, and I'd like to turn it on its side to come through this gap, tweak it, cut it, and make it fit like, look like it came out the factory like that. So that's possibly a future job for this car. It produced about 15 to 20 brake horsepower, less than I expected. Now, I only found out after the build that that was mainly down to my fault, because when I built it, I set up the cam timing, the lift at top dead centre, to naturally aspirated specification, if you like. And obviously this is forced induction, so if I then went and changed the cam timing and got it re-roll and roaded, I could probably make more horsepower. But it's such a fast car as it is, and it drives so beautifully, it's so smooth, that I'm a bit reluctant to touch it. So yeah, it's got Omega forged 18cc pistons, Now they are required because the combustion chambers in the heads of these cylinder heads are very small, so you need that obviously for your compression ratio. It's got uprated crank rods. It's got a jackknife 6-speed dog box, which is kind of rare. Lightened flywheel. I could go on all day. The list of mods is endless. But it's a very refined car. Other than the gearbox, is, well, as you can imagine, dog engagement. There's no synchros. You grind every gear. It's not nice to sit in traffic. It really isn't. But it's a very, very fun car. It picks up its arse like nothing else, and it's a lot of fun. Now I know there's guys out there that have got minis with 200 plus brake horsepower, and I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking for something that puts a smile on my face and has enough power for me, which this more than does. Now I did mention earlier that the underside is as clean as on top, so I'll try, if the lighting is adequate, to show you a little bit of the underside so you can see what I'm talking about when I say that I don't like using it in the rain. So as you can see, the subframes are all coordinated. The underside of the car is body colour coordinated, and I've spent hours on the likes of brake pipes, etc., bending them into beautiful shapes, because I'm a bit of a path when it comes to stuff like that. So yeah, that's the reason why I don't use it a lot in bad weather. Now, as I was saying before, this is the plaque I was gave. This certifies that Craig McLean is hereby recognised for least likely to come out in winter, awarded on December the 19th, 2015. Cheeky buggers, but to be fair, they're right. So I think that pretty much concludes the Mini. Like I said, this was built many years ago, so I haven't got many good photos of the build of this car. Certainly no digital ones. They were all done on disposable cameras back in the day. So I'll show you what I was talking about before. I'll just show you a picture of the Escort that gave me the inspiration, which is this one here. This is Stephen Spencer's Mark 1. I don't think it's a Mexico, but it's badged up as a Mexico Cosworth running gear. The wheels I'm looking for myself, the CB Oscars, everything about it is just me. The low fat wide stance, very, very nice car, and certainly a big inspiration for me. So that probably concludes this video. So any feedback from you guys would certainly be took on board. If you think the video was good, please let me know. For some of the more experienced of you, obviously you can probably give me some tips. Bearing in mind that I'm not very good with computers, so the editing process, all that kind of thing, that'll take me time. That'll take me time to come to learn, because like I say, I'm certainly not good with computers. So thanks very much for watching. Like I said, please give me some feedback, and hopefully I can bring you some further videos in future showing the build of the Escort. When it comes out the paint shop, I'm massively looking forward to that, and I can show you some videos, some photos of that when it leaves White Ribbon Accident Repair. So thanks very much for watching.